I've always wondered why someone should be concerned about what I eat. Today we are demystifying dieting, and we have in the studio a very fine dietitian by name Kwablah. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Demystify It. As I indicated earlier on, today we are demystifying dieting, and we have in the studio a fine dietitian known as Kwablah. Andrews, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Prof.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. Yourself?
So, what is dieting and who is a dietitian?
Okay, so a dietitian, okay, we are health professionals, okay, and we specialize in human nutrition and how it affects your health. Okay, we do that both on an individual level and also a public health level.
Right. So let's look at the educational trajectory. Did you always want to become a dietitian growing up? Okay,
so growing up, we wanted to become doctors. We didn't have any idea about who a dietitian was. We probably heard it, but then it wasn't in our plans.
So then, what was the inspiration of becoming a dietitian?
Okay, so as years went by, we had various opportunities after school. So we had a chance to choose a number of courses, and I got this course, I found this course, and I realized it was something I would want to take up.
Okay.
So I took it up.
So which institution would one need to attend to become a dietitian?
Okay, so from SHS or senior high, you would apply to the universities. All right, so the University of Ghana, UHAS, UCC, the other universities that also run the program. So with your results, you can apply in any of these universities.
Okay, that's fine. So now let's come back to the main issue. What constitutes proper diet?
Okay, so the concept of proper diet, okay, the concept of a good diet is very, very subjective.
Okay, tell me about it.
It's very, very subjective because what I eat may be different from what you eat. Okay, a good diet will have to have all the nutrients.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you have all the nutrients in the right proportions. Someone would say a balanced diet. Okay, but you see, as you go further into the concept of diet, and you realize that some people have illness.
Okay.
And hence certain illness will require different diets.
Okay.
So you cannot have a good diet for everyone. Everyone's diet is different. So a good diet for me will not be good for you.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So let's take an average person, okay, who is not sick but wants to eat well. What are the kinds of foods that you recommend for such a person? The person is not sick.
Okay.
The person wants to only eat well.
All right. So someone like that will look at so many parameters. Okay, your activity level, what kind of work are you doing?
Okay.
The mason's diet is going to be different from the lawyer's diet. Okay. Or the one in the office.
Okay.
Because one in the office is not really, it's usually by the desk, by the PC, and it's not too sedentary, but then it's not having that much activity like the mason who is carrying mortar up and down.
Okay.
But that person will need more energy.
Okay, so in terms of energy, what kinds of foods should a mason, for instance, be eating?
So a mason's diet,
let's say for breakfast.
So a mason's diet is going to be different from someone who is in a corporate works diet. Okay, so a mason is going to usually require more energy. It's going to need more of the carbohydrates, more of the proteins, and in terms of quantity, may require more. So
typically, with carbohydrates, give me examples of meals that a mason should be eating.
Okay, so a mason, so usually in our local setting, they go for the banku, they go for the fufu, and some of these foods that.
So I'm suggesting that the bankus and the kenkes are not too appropriate for professionals who are sedentary, who sit by their desk from morning to evening. Let's say a banker or a teller, a lawyer. Are you suggesting that banku, fufu, and those carbohydrates may not be too appropriate for such people?
Okay, so for such people, we want to meet your nutritional needs. Okay, so quantity is very important in this particular case. Okay, so the quantity a mason will take and the quantity someone in the corporate world will take. There are two different quantities. Okay, you want to be very mindful about quantity.
Okay.
That's one thing that most Ghanaians are not really cautious about.
Right.
You see someone who go to the table, sell yourself, and is taking 4 balls of banku.
Okay.
Okay. But it may not be healthy for the person because it's going to exceed your nutritional requirements for carbohydrates. So you end up, so that's one of the main causes of diabetes in our country.
Okay.
Because people are taking excess carbohydrates.
Okay. So if you say excess carbohydrates, what do you mean?
Okay, so every individual will require a certain amount of carbohydrates for the day.
Okay.
Okay, so usually go for your breakfast, your lunch, your supper. So your breakfast, when we calculate, we'll know how much carbohydrates that will be suitable for you for that particular moment. Okay, so when you take more than that, then the excess has to come out. It has to be excreted. And when it stays in the blood for a long time and it starts to cause insulin resistance, that's where diabetes slowly sets in. It usually starts from pre-diabetes, then gradually you get to diabetes. You be diagnosed with diabetes, then you start getting symptoms. Okay, so you want to be very mindful about how much carbohydrates you are taking.
Okay, so just draw me a chart. So if you work in a corporate institution where you sit for a very long time and you want to take KK in the morning, how many bowls should you take?
Okay, so depending on your activity level, okay, depending on activity level, someone may take and also your needs. Okay, I'm a little smaller, someone may be bigger, who all require different amounts of carbohydrates.
Okay, so there's nothing like one cup fits all.
No, there's no one cup fits all.
All right. Now you mentioned diabetes. So if one is a diabetic, what kinds of food should the person be eating?
So this is one big concern in the country. Okay, most people are diagnosed with diabetes. The cases keep increasing day by day. I keep getting more referrals for diabetics. Okay, nutrition and diabetics. Some people, when they're referred, they wait. They don't come. Okay, when it gets to end stages, and now they get foot ulcers, the soil is not healing, and they are urinating excessively, then that's where they run to the dietitian to help them. Okay, and most people, when they are referred, those who come first, like once they are diagnosed with diabetes, they come quickly, we are able to help them. Okay, we are able to help them. So we'll have to look at your nutrition history. We'll have to look at the food you are eating. Okay. Okay, there are several assessments we'll have to make. Okay, we have to check your weight, to check your body mass index, your activity level.
What is the body mass index?
So that's what we call BMI. The BMI takes account your weight and your height. Okay. Okay. We take your weight, we take your height, and it's calculated in an index, and that will show whether you are underweight, whether you are in the normal range, the normal weight, obese or overweight.
Okay. Okay. So that is the body mass.
That's the body mass index.
Yes. Index.
Yes. Index.
That's the BMI.
BMI. Yeah.
Okay. So we have lots of men with protruding tummies.
Yes.
Now, a lot of them want to work on the tummy. Okay. But they struggle with it. So with such people, how can they work on their tummy? What should they be eating, or what should they be avoiding to ensure that their protruding tummies get reduced a bit?
Okay. So so it's one big problem in the country. So many men have pot bellies in quotes. Okay, and I'll say the first thing you have to do is go and consult a dietitian. Come and see a dietitian. Okay, you see, when we assess, you realize some of them are doing late night eating. Some people are eating late in the night. Okay, and as I mentioned, carbohydrates initially, people are taking excess carbohydrates and inappropriate meal choices people are doing. Okay, people go to the buffet and you see the plate is so filled with so much carbohydrates. That's one big problem in the country. Usually take in more of the staples. Okay, the carbohydrate staples, and when you take excess of that, it causes problems. And also refined carbohydrates is one big thing.
What do you mean by refined carbohydrates?
Refined carbohydrates, so the flour, okay, meat pie, some of these processed donuts, okay, all these foods, they are not bad, okay, but they want to watch the quantity, how much you are taking.
So you are eating them in moderation, sort of?
Yes, so take it in moderation. When you take it in excess, that's when it starts to cause problems. So you need to see a dietitian so that will guide you on the food you take, okay, your breakfast, your lunch, your supper, and not just the food you take. We do several assessments. We'll take your labs. Okay, your labs is one big thing that we want to look at. It's one big area we want to look at. So we'll look at your labs, your HB, your HbA1c, fasting blood sugar, so many labs, kidney function test, liver function test. We look at all these labs, and based on their findings, based on the labs, we can give you the appropriate diet to help you. Okay, if you are sick, if you have diabetes, if you have hypertension, you have high cholesterol, we look at your labs, okay, and we use those indicators to guide you as to which particular diet to go with. Okay, and we also track, we monitor, we make sure that whilst we give you the diet, we are monitoring your cholesterol levels, we are monitoring your HbA1c to make sure that everything is going well, and coming back to the normal ranges. Okay, else then there's no need for the diet. So we'll look at we'll do all the assessments, your weight, your BMI, and waist hip ratio, waist circumference. We'll do all that. Then with your labs and all this, physical activity, your stress levels, we want to look at all these. Then we'll recommend a diet for you.
Yes, but I would want you to break it down. Give me typical kinds of foods that, let's say, a diabetic should take in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. What kinds of foods should such a person be focused on for healthy life?
Yes. Okay, so this question, I always get asked this question a lot. So you see, what I take in a day may be different from what you take also in a day. Okay, someone will take, I've had one diabetic client who she was diagnosed with diabetes for some years.
Okay.
And she's a typical Ashanti woman.
Okay.
So she has her apim and her contumely, yes, with the Kobe and all this. And she says that I eat all this, and my grandmother has been taking this, and they were not sick. But how come she's been taking this and she's now sick? Okay, she now has diabetes. She doesn't understand why her diet, because it's termed as healthy. The apim and the contumely is termed as healthy.
Very healthy. Yeah.
Yes, but then she still got diabetes, and she doesn't understand how she got the diabetes. After taking apim, she doesn't take the drinks, all the drinks, that sugary drinks and all these refined foods. But the apim and her yams, but she's still diabetic.
Okay.
You see, so that's I keep saying that, see a dietitian. Okay, there's no, even if I give you the food to take, I have to be monitoring.
Okay.
Okay, I have to be monitoring the food you are taking. Okay, I can tell you take chicken, take fish, and all this, but if I'm not monitoring, and there's no basis for it. So particular foods, we don't have particular food for diabetics.
Yes. Okay.
The same food you are eating, we will modify it to suit your needs.
But how do you guarantee that the client or the patient would go according to what you've specified, what you've asked them to take? If you ask them to take, let's say, 1 ball of kenke, and they go out there and they take 2 or 3 balls, how do you guarantee that they go according to what you've asked them to do?
Yeah, so it depends on the client. I have some very serious clients who go very strict to the diet. And there's one misconception where people think that the dietitian is going to limit your food completely. So let's say instead of taking 1 ball of candy, you say take half or take a third of it. That's not what I'll actually do. Okay, the diet should be so friendly, it should be so okay that you still take your food all right, and you'll be okay. Okay, so we don't have so many restrictions when it comes to the diet. When you do so many restrictions, the diet becomes something else.
All right, so we'll talk about alcohol, but let's take a break and come back.
All right.
The program is Demystified. We'll be back. Welcome back. The program is Demystified, and today we are demystifying dieting. And we have here Andrews Kwablah, who is a dietitian. So Andrews, tell me about some diseases that are associated with unhealthy dieting.
Okay, so unhealthy dieting, okay, it's a very big problem in the country. It's a very big issue in the country.
Okay.
So people are eating anyhow, if I should say. Okay, let's say junk food has now become very common.
Okay.
Okay. And you see, day in and day out, so many cases are being diagnosed of diabetes. People are being diagnosed of diabetes, kidney diseases, okay, hypertension, high cholesterol. Okay. And all these diseases, aside your family history, some families have people who are diabetic.
Okay.
There's some families with diabetics and hypertensives.
Right.
Okay, but also unhealthy eating. When you are taking excess of the junk food, you're likely to develop diabetes, hypertension, some of these chronic diseases. We call them chronic because they start from an acute stage. Okay, so from a stage where you don't really get so much symptoms. Okay, then gradually it worsens and becomes chronic. Okay. So you have to get your tests. At least you should have one yearly checkup to know your status. Okay, and even unhealthy eating is very relative. Okay, it's very, because someone can have his food and think that he's eating healthy, but then that food is actually not healthy for him. Okay. Yes. So you have to see a dietitian, even if you are healthy and you are not sure of the food you are eating, or you have a family history of some of these chronic diseases. You want to see a dietitian to know whether you are at risk of these diseases. Okay, and you can start monitoring and start guiding you. Once you hit your 30s, once you hit your 20s, your 30s, 40s, you want to see a dietitian so that we start guiding you on your eating habits. Okay. So that you prevent all these diseases from happening, or you delay it from happening.
So, what is your take on alcohol?
Okay. All right. So alcohol, there are amounts, recommended amounts of alcohol that you can take. Okay. You don't want to exceed those limits. Okay. So for all the alcoholic beverages that are available, there are amounts for every individual. So you want to see the recommended amounts both for males and females. You want to know the amounts that is recommended. So the issue becomes when you're taking in excess. Okay. That's where it becomes a problem.
And excess too is relative, like you keep saying.
It's relative.
So typically, how much should a person take in terms of a bottle of beer or Guinness? Depends on the person's...
It varies every individual. So you want to know the recommended amount for every bottle that you take. I don't want to give you any particular quantity on
Right. We are advised to take fruits on an empty stomach. What's your take on that?
Okay, so fruits are very healthy. Okay, fruits are very healthy. And whether I take fruits on empty stomach or not, it depends on your condition. Someone who is healthy, who doesn't have any chronic disease or any illness, can take fruits on healthy stomach and not have any problem. Okay. Okay, some people with ulcer and reflux diseases, sometimes we advise that don't take fruits on empty stomach, but probably after a meal or an hour after a meal. Okay, so fruits are very healthy. Okay, but the issue is that some people take it in excess. When you take fruits in excess, it starts to cause problem because fruits contain fructose sugar. Okay. Okay, the way we discourage taking in sugar, fruits also contains fructose sugar. Okay. Okay, so when you take the recommended amount of fruits, so I always say see the dietitian so that we will show you how much fruits that your body can take. Someone who is diabetic, you take in excess fruits, you're going to have excess sugar in your blood. Okay. It causes problems.
Okay, so are you suggesting? Okay, so what kinds of fruits should a dietitian avoid?
Okay, so let's say fruits like pineapple. Someone who is diabetic, okay, you want to watch the amount of fruits like pineapple. Okay. Okay. The sugar can be very high sometimes. Okay, depending on where you get the pineapple from. Okay, because comparing pineapple to other fruits, okay, banana and some of these fruits, they are all healthy fruits. Mango, okay. The sugar, when you take the fruit in excess, it can increase your blood sugar levels. This is one thing that people don't. We always say that diabetics can eat fruits, okay, but then how much? You're taking one big watermelon, you are going to worry yourself. Okay. Yeah. So you want to be very mindful about how much of the fruits you are taking.
Interesting. Yeah. Right. So tell me, are there a lot of dietitians in this country?
Okay. So in the country at the moment, we are not too many. Okay. But if you go to the hospitals, you'll find most of us. Okay. You can also contact us on social media.
Do you avail yourself to people who want to engage you privately?
Yeah. So we take one-on-one consultations. So you can contact us and we can see you privately.
Okay, so if somebody wants to reach you, how would the person get to engage you?
Okay, so you can check out my Instagram account, dietitian Andrew, dietitian_Andrew. Or you can call my phone number to contact me on 054 828 17 35. Yes.
So what will be your final words to one, students seeking to become dietitians, and the viewing public seeking to live a healthy lifestyle?
Okay, so for students who want to study the course, I'll say learn very hard, okay, and check out the various institutions, their cutoffs, okay, and try to meet those cutoffs, and read wide, okay, and also apply to the various universities you get picked. Then for every other person out there, I'll say make sure that you see a dietitian, okay. As you keep aging, your risk of chronic diseases keep increasing. Okay. When you hit 40, the risk of prostate cancer increases for men. Okay. Women also have their own risk: diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, kidney diseases. Okay. We have so many cases day in and day out. I keep seeing most of these cases at my facility. Okay. So you want to engage a dietitian. You want to start monitoring whilst you don't have any symptoms. Some people have diabetes, but they don't actually know.
Okay.
Yes, they don't know that they have diabetes. And some even have the signs and ignore it and wait when it gets to advanced stage. Some people are also diagnosed, they see the doctor, they have their medications all right, but then they don't consider the lifestyle aspect. They don't consider the diet side.
Okay.
It's always just the medications. So I'll say engage a dietitian to make sure that you improve your symptoms. Okay, so that your disease doesn't get to end stage. Okay. We call it chronic disease. So it starts from acute stage. So you have chronic CKD or chronic kidney disease stage 1. So the general public, I'll say make sure that you see a dietitian. Okay, as your age keeps increasing, as you keep advancing in age, okay, your risk of chronic diseases increases. Okay, so you want to engage a dietitian, because these diseases are like one disease like hypertension. It's called the silent killer. You don't get any symptoms, then all of a sudden the symptoms start kicking, or you may get a heart attack. Okay, and these are chronic diseases that are all over. Some people have diabetes and don't even know that they have diabetes. Okay, and some people have not yet been diagnosed. They experience the signs and symptoms, but then they ignore it.
Okay.
They don't go and see the doctor. They don't go and see the dietitian. Some are also diagnosed and don't see the dietitian at all. They only take the medication and ignore the lifestyle aspect, the diet aspect. So you want to take your medications all right and engage a dietitian to make sure that your symptoms improve. Okay, medications help, diet also helps together.
All right. Thank you very, 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 very much. I think you've been so deep. You've given us a lot of information on dieting. We appreciate you coming here. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thanks for having me.
Right, so I guess we've demystified dieting, and we believe that with everything that Andrew has said, it will help us to live a very healthy life. Thank you very much for watching Demystify It. See ya.